I told you I found you a perfect match. Chosen by science, but you had to marry them right this second. You would tell me, well, that sounds pretty whack. And I would add, you have 8 weeks to know if you really love them. You just got married at first sight. Jason and Aysha gonna tell you wrong from right. Are all these couples just disasters waiting to happen? Imagine if one of them could be a perfect match.
Welcome to A Perfect Match, where today we'll be talking Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 8. I am one of your hosts, Jason Reed. Oh, look who we have here. And with me, not as always, but here today is Aysha Welch. Aysha, welcome back to the podcast.
You miss 1 week.
Wow.
Uno.
Yeah.
A singular week. And
Hey,
it becomes a thing.
I mean, it happened, right? You weren't here.
Not-
You abandoned the podcast. You abandoned the listeners to go party in Houston with all your fans, all your entourage. You know, you put up people in your 15-room mansion. You know, I understand you had to make sure all the maid staff got all the rooms ready. You had to supervise. So I get it. I understand. It's just, you know, I'm glad you're back, Aysha. I'm glad you're here.
Listen. If I could count the amount of podcasts we've done together about just this show, forget everything else.
That's a lot.
Yes, just Married at
And
First
I've
Sight.
been here for every one of them.
And you have the nerve to say, not always.
Am I wrong? I mean,
What if I had a little cold?
what do you mean? What, you got a little cold?
And I couldn't make the pod. Then
I
would
think
you
that's
hold that over my
unacceptable.
head?
Yeah, I would, because it's for the people, Aysha. I'm here for the people. Okay, if I'm on my deathbed, I'm going to be doing A Perfect Match.
You're going to be talking about David and Michelle.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking about tense housewarming situations, you know, flag football games, the important stuff in life, you know?
Like day 17.
What we're doing here is important, guys, okay?
MM stepped 2 steps away to go to the kitchen so that Ikechi couldn't hear her.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Okay. This is an interesting episode. I mean, we got the housewarming.
Wait. Before we get to the episode,
okay, yes.
I want to give you your props.
Okay, I'm ready. Yeah.
You did a great job last week. You and Mari. Thank you so much, Mari, for filling in for me. I appreciate that so much. It was entertaining. It was funny. Brought some innovation with the dates.
Yes. What did you bring? What new thing are you bringing this episode? I mean, or do we gotta call Mari back? I mean,
Right. I didn't know I was supposed to come with ideas.
I mean, when someone comes in and fills your spot and brings new stuff, I mean, I feel like I kind of obligated the next time to bring something innovative as well. I'm just saying.
The bar has been raised.
Yo, let me tell you, with the quickness, Aysha put myself back in the right box, and she's in the left box. She needed to come back and reassert who was the lead of the podcast real quick. I said, "Oh, like that." I was having a good time in the left box. Aysha's like, "Nope, that's not happening."
No.
Okay.
Look, listen, you did a great job. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I was like, we're in good hands.
I felt good with, you know, being at left box. I was like, this, I see what Aysha feels like now every episode. Like as the lead anchor of this podcast in this left box, I feel a certain aura of power. But you came back and just smacked me back down and said, get in your right box.
Move over there.
Yeah. Click over there. Back where you belong.
But y'all did great. I loved it. It was a big episode. Like, to miss the dogs, to miss the experts. Like, we've been wanting some expert conversations to happen. So I think y'all did an amazing job.
What were your overall thoughts of the episode? Like, we don't get too into it, but like, how are you feeling overall?
You know, Michelle was still up to her Michelle stuff. Like, I thought that the dates ideas that she came with were just to save face, because she continued to be like, it's so stone cold. It was just like, look, I'm showing up. Let's go to a concert that they're probably never gonna go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to think what happened with the other couples. MM and Akechi. I felt definitely we have more to discuss this episode than last episode. But yeah, I thought it was interesting with the expert visits of just like they were trying to be like, obviously, we're there. It's like, no, not everyone is there. Like, what are y'all trying to say? It's a given just because you're married? Absolutely not.
I mean, yeah, we'll talk about people's expectations, I think, in these family visits of maybe they also have lofty expectations for our couples. Should be how they should be thinking. But yeah.
So I mean, it was solid overall, but yeah, I did appreciate that y'all still talked about dogs for me on my behalf.
So are you a Rico girly or are you a Luffy girly? Where's your allegiance lie? I feel like you're more of a Rico because Rico is trained. Rico is like very trained. I feel like that's how you got Pepper Simmons, and Luffy is definitely not.
Right. Rico, yes, I am definitely more of a Rico girl. I can't knock Luffy because Luffy is a 1-year-old puppy. That's still like,
why did you do the air quotes?
Because you can't be saying puppy. I will say puppy, but you can't be saying like, oh, this is puppy behavior at 1 year old. Like
they should be out of that behavior.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Like, yeah, they're still a cute little puppy, but you need to know how to sit. Okay.
You need to know how to calm down when it's time to calm down.
Chill out when we're eating. But yeah, Rico is adorable. And I was like, yes, that's exactly, we're on the same page there with how I like carry, like Pepper and Cinnamon know what's up, basically. Yeah.
Got them trained.
But before we get into this episode, definitely make sure you go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed where you can get all of our podcasts about Married at First Sight, Love is Blind. Everyone, we hear you. We hear you. We hear you. We hear you about the ultimatum. Nobody told us it was going to be good. No one said, hey, forget about season 2. Season 3 is where it's at. Even the preview of this season did not do it justice. I don't know who we need to talk to at Netflix to amp it up, because the way they could have just only had the first 5 episodes in the preview and like sold us. But anyway, we will do a season.
The heteros were like, we hear you. We're not as good as the queer love. We're gonna up the ante. We get it.
Honestly. And yeah, I was thoroughly engaged and impressed with the entertainment value of this. Yeah. The first drop of episodes. So we will be covering the season as a whole. Me, Jason, and Mary. And so keep a lookout for that once all the episodes have aired, which will be in 2 weeks. If you're listening to that this week, like the week of like December 11th. So yeah, they're going to air in 1 week, because this week they're dropping episodes 6 through 8. Next week, they're dropping episodes 9 and 10. So we'll talk about the episode.
How many episodes are there in total?
10.
That's it? Is there a reunion?
No, because it just...
I feel like we had a reunion. We had reunions, I think, for the other ultimatums. I know we had one like for Queer Love. 2, I was like, because there was almost a fist fight on Queer Love reunion.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, is 10 the reunion or is there a separate episode? But either way, we'll come back to discuss the entirety of the season. So there will be lots of thoughts there. So that will be on the Love at First Sight feed. And make sure you go leave us a 5-star rating review, because we shout them out on this podcast. One of my very best friends was shouted out last week on the podcast. Her review, teacher, shout out to you. I wasn't here when it was read, but appreciate you. Right. And so this first one is from JE3 Wife. It's titled My Friends Who Live in My Computer. That could be a Lifetime movie.
Ooh, it sounds like almost like a Disney Channel original movie, honestly.
Yeah, My Friends Who Live in My Computer. Aysha and Jason are the absolute best hosts / guests on every RHAP podcast, but especially MAFS. I started watching them a few episodes into Denver because of the insanity, and I needed confirmation that I wasn't the crazy one. Their laughs and Jason's impressions make my day every time. It feels like I'm hanging out with friends that can't hear me, LOL. P.S. Aysha should help Jason design a background because her spot is fabulous.
Excuse me. You don't like all this plain
Let's compare
background here? Fine, whatever.
Like, where are your Legos? Where are your lights?
I have Legos. I have my Lego Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, nice.
You have no idea what this is because you don't watch Marvel movies.
What's that? Spider-Man? I'm kidding.
I'm about to hang up this.
I'm kidding. I actually did see that one in theaters. I did.
I saw that in the theater.
How do you say it? What would you say at the movies?
Yeah, at the movies, like a normal person says. I went to movies. I saw Avengers. Which Avengers is this in?
The Infinity War?
It's in both, so you're kind of right. Well, yeah.
Trick question.
Yeah, it was a trick question. Yeah. Great review. Listen, I love the best part of every RHAP podcast.
I know.
Someone call Rhap, let him know. Get us on more stuff. The one I am going to read is from Lizzle8910. Came for the LIB, stayed for the rest. I started listening for the Love is Blind recaps, but loved Aysha and Jason's banter so much, that patented award-winning banter we got, so much that I started watching, loosely speaking, MAFS just to hear more of them. I love their takes, and they're both equally hilarious. Let's not go overboard, okay?
Okay, quality.
Nah, I don't know about that. They're both equally hilarious in complimentary ways. I have been listening constantly during my maternity leave, and they have me laughing out loud, even during 2 a.m. feeds. My baby loves you all too. Really, she stopped crying when I turned on the pod in the car today.
Aww.
Can't recommend enough. Listen, I've been told my voice is very soothing, very so good. Can even put babies to sleep. You know what? It's so weird. It's funny that we got this review. And first of all, congratulations, Lizzle, on the childbirth, on the baby. Childbirth. I don't know why I said it like that. I'm scrolling Facebook, right? And there's a Facebook ad that comes up. And it's the one and only Jamie Otis.
Oh, okay.
And would you like to know what Jamie Otis is doing on this Facebook ad that has come up on my screen?
What is she doing?
Guess anything. I'll give you
Jamie Otis.
I'll give you a hint. She just had twins.
Oh, okay. So I don't know, not baby formula, baby items like a car seat or some moisturizer.
Good guess. All good guesses. She is literally breastfeeding on this Facebook ad.
Oh.
I don't know if it was an ad. It was just like, it showed me her Facebook profile.
Uh-huh.
And I have nothing against women breastfeeding in public, all that good stuff. Do what you got to do. It's whatever. But I just didn't expect it because it was very in your face. It was just like, I did not expect to see Jamie Otis's partial.
What was she promoting
on my screen? I'm not sure if she was even promoting anything. It was just her Facebook page because I guess I look at so much Married at First Sight stuff that it was like, here you go. I'm sure you'll like this.
Here's an
Jamie
update.
Otis's Facebook page. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, we got the thing about the baby, and I thought it was interesting because I ran up on it today. I was like, whoa, okay. Didn't expect to see that, but
yeah. No shame to moms needing to do
shame at all
in public. It's just I understand your surprise.
It was surprising to see it where I saw it.
Yeah. You weren't out and about at a store. Right. You were scrolling your Facebook feed.
Hey, Jamie Otis. All right, cool. See a lot more Jamie Otis than I figured I'd see today. So that's interesting. Just figured it was a little bit related to this review. But yes, Lizzle, thank you so much. Congratulations on the baby. Hope all is well. And thanks for the great review.
Yeah. And last but not least, make sure you go join our Facebook group, A Perfect Match Podcast. We have a great time in there talking about the episodes as they happen and anything else happening. Right now, there's some discussion about the ultimatum. So go join our Facebook group this week. The password is
it ain't about you. Man. Listen, if you ever need to know how not to have a housewarming, how not to talk to your significant other's relatives, KG is going to teach you a thing or two.
Yeah, that is. You know what he should do? He should write a book. He should write a book about what not to do when you're meeting or engaging with your spouse's loved ones.
Although he probably come at it from the perspective of like what to do, like because he thinks he was in the right. I'm sure.
I'm here for her. I'm not here to abuse you. That's when you know you have messed up, when you've resorted to that. Like, where? No.
But Aysha, listen, KG's teaching me some things because you're in Texas, right? So you're in the South.
No, don't listen to him.
So I know how people in the South like to act in relationships and how they show their love. So
I said, if he says this one more time, I am so upset that he's claiming he's sin.
I'm from the South, so
we do it different.
This is how we do it. What? Okay, doesn't make any sense. But yeah, we'll get to it. I think we got a lot to say when it comes to their time.
Yes, but let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah, let's get into Madison and Allen here. Listen, kind of Madison is every week that goes by, I say Madison is Gina with a better poker face. Because Madison, she really trying to convince us that she's trying, but then we see these little glimpses of like, no, like she's just trying to get through this in the best way possible.
She knows that this is going to be televised. This is going to be a reflection of her in this relationship. She is well aware that is not a thought that is leaving her mind. And I think she understands, like, look, I can play the role as long as I need to. I don't think she hates him. I just don't think she just understands that this is not the husband that she wants to be with.
Yeah.
And I think that is just kind of like
crossing out the days as they went by for the 8 weeks.
Because it's kind of like, oh, you know what I really need? I really need somebody who's like equally matched with me on like a fitness level. He's like, okay, sure.
I got that. She's like, oh, I've
been to the gym 4 days this week.
Oh, wow. I didn't expect you to actually.
I didn't think you're going to implement
do that.
Right. Okay. I was just talking.
Yeah.
I was just spitballing like, oh, fitness, but maybe I mean finances, or maybe I
like. He's like, I got that too. Yeah. You want to see your bank account? She's like, damn. What else?
I mean, what's something you can't change? I
really like black guys. I just, I know I told everyone I wanted a Caucasian husband, but I'm really into black guys.
Like, yeah, so. I have. What did you say? Yeah, I have.
Here's my 23andMe. I'm like 30% African. Could you believe it? I'm like South African.
Oh, I just think she totally. It's to the point. And I think it's a little bit different than the David and Michelle dynamic. But I think it's to the point with her where she's like, when I really think about it, I'm changing who he is at his core. And when I'm thinking about the things that I want.
But he's fine with that. He's like,
he is fine with
change. Like, got you.
He's perfectly okay. He's like, let's go through this workshop. I will be a new Allen by the end of this. You want me to throw away my clothes?
Yeah.
Got it. Let's go shopping.
Let's go. Let's do it. Buy me some clothes. I'm on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we start Madison and Allen, and she's really testing him now. She's like, okay, I want to take you to the gym. She goes to. She's like, this is the gym I go to when I want to focus on carb. I'm like, you go to how many different gyms are you a member to? Like, I got a membership to Planet Fitness that I don't use. And that is the only gym I will ever be a part of.
Like, okay, I'm not gonna chime in here.
Here we go. Go ahead. How many?
Okay, so right now in time, I am a part of 3 gyms.
Now in time, 3 gyms.
Well, one of them I'm canceling one of them is set to be canceled as of January 1st.
Doesn't matter. You're still a member of 3 gyms currently. Don't try to get out of it.
And then unless you count like Apple Fitness, where you get like a bunch of classes and stuff that you can like do from home. I also have that, but that's for lazy days. Like, I don't want to go to the gym. I just want to do it at home. But for the other 3, so I do have Planet Fitness. That's where I go the most often. I just joined EOS Fitness a couple months ago, which is like just a really nice gym that has more equipment. It has like outdoor turf area, indoor turf area, sauna. That's my biggest selling point. But the other one that I'm canceling is the Y, because I was using it for swimming.
To prepare for things.
Yeah, to prepare for things. Yes.
Oh, gotcha.
So I swam a lot there. I knew how to swim. Don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I just needed to get my reps in before I flew across the world. And so because I'm not using the pool as often, I'm canceling it.
So is there something that one of them offers that the other doesn't? Because I feel like Planet Fitness is like your basic.
It is, yeah. Planet Fitness
gym equipment.
Yes. I would say EOS Fitness has like more unique equipment, like more along the lines of just like a lot of stuff that is in like a typical heavily populated gym.
See, now I guess when it's like when you gotta watch your budget, right? When you gotta like when you're someone that has to worry about those things, I know you don't get it. You're just like, all right, what I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna cancel Planet Fitness, and when that's over, then I'll sign up for the other one, right? So there's no overlap. But you're just like, nah, I just got 2 gym memberships. That's just how that's what I'm gonna carry it. This is what I'm gonna do.
Listen, my job covers it.
Oh man. Like,
so
anyway, that was your fitness minute brought to you by EOS Gyms. EOS Fitness. Get your membership today. You said the name so many times, it's like they don't think this is a paid sponsor.
I know.
But yeah, Madison has brought Allen to one of her gyms. This gym is...
let me clarify. EOS Fitness, some locations do have a pool. So I did get the membership where I can go to any location, but the location I go to the most often doesn't have a pool.
Do you want to give the address? Do you want?
I just felt like somebody would be like, "I go to EOS Fitness and they have a pool."
Do you have a discount code you want to give out? Get 20% off your membership. Will you put in Aysha,
get 80% off EOS Aysha.
Glad you gave that clarification because that's super important. So this is apparently a gym Madison wants to go to when she wants to get her steps in, because we go on this like climbing stairmaster type of guy, and Alan's like, yeah, let's do this, let's get the cardio up. But like from what they tell us, he gets like 10 seconds in, he's like, yeah, like nah,
because this is a full body thing. Like, it's even different than a regular stairmaster where like, okay, yeah, you get to go and that's okay, whew, right? This is arms and feet going opposite. And it's like that for a minute is hard. And this is probably like a 45-minute class.
Yeah. Alan's struggling. He's on the struggle bus.
She's like, she's like, I'm gonna get him.
Yeah.
She picked the hardest thing to go to.
You think you can hang, bro? You think because you go on a treadmill for 30 minutes for 4 days, you think that's gonna do it for me? Like, nah, that's not the level of fitness I'm on, my guy. So Alan's struggling. In confessional, Madison says, I'm kind of having fun watching him struggle, but I do appreciate that he's trying. So after the class, Madison's telling about, this is the kind of thing I need for my fitness, just to stay accountable. And Alan says, that really kind of fits who you are, because you're someone that has a lot of discipline. You're someone that's very regimented. So that really makes sense. And he tells, listen, I'm feeling so much better now that I've started working out. I really like the change that you're making me do. Like, that's how he says, but I really like the change. He tells you're a great motivator. Like, so what do you think about that? Like, am I changing enough for you? Like, it's kind of like he wants to do a temperature check. Like, am I changed enough? Like, is
right? Do you still have the ick?
Yeah, basically she says yes. No, she says yeah, it's great. Like, this is all good. It's like, but I don't want you to think. He tells her, like, I don't want you to think I'm doing this for you. Pause. But I kind of am. Like, it's like I want you proud of your man. I don't think we're at your man status yet. Like,
she was like, oh,
yeah. It's like you're
chill on your man stuff.
Yeah, that's not where we're at. Like, gotta be aware of where we are in our relationship. He's like, I want you to be proud of your man. Yeah, so he brings up next. He's like, no, we kind of have what?
I feel bad for him.
Oh yeah, I think most of us do.
Is that a collective feeling?
I
Okay.
think so.
Yeah, because I just like, I understand people aren't a match, right? But he is trying so hard. Like he is really putting his best foot forward, and it is a lost cause because she's just like, she has friend zoned him in her mind.
Do you think he sees that? Because I think he's trying to tell us that he still thinks there's a chance, but I think deep down he sees that.
I think he may see it, but I think he thinks he can win her over. And I don't think he understands the power of the friend zone. That thing is no matter how
it's like the Phantom Zone in Superman. Like you can't get out of it.
Yeah, I totally get that.
I know that went over your head. But he like broaches the subject. He's like, listen, like we've had this routine since we've gotten together. Like we go to the gym, we go to work, we come home, we do stuff, and then bed. I think the do stuff is like you go out with your friends while leaving me at home. Like,
yes,
I don't think the do stuff is like we do stuff together. And he pretty much says like, I want to do more things together, even if it's just like chilling, watching TV, like kind of like laid back, or we go out and do something.
Yeah, he's like, I want us to spend time together.
Yeah, crazy thought, right? Husband and wife. She's just like, yeah, totally, sure. Like, oh, okay,
maybe.
Yeah. It's like, no, I don't think so.
I just don't get why. Well, I mean, I do get why, but I think maybe from Alan's perspective, like, okay, their first time like working out together was this one-off class. When she goes to the gym probably almost every day, why isn't she just taking him to do a regular workout?
I think Madison probably thinks that Alan would cramp her style. Like, I can understand, like, if you go to the gym and you're used to a certain routine at the gym, like, you don't want someone tagging along that's like not going to be like not going to be like on your level of things. But we do find out later that Madison does have another gym buddy.
Exactly, that's what it is.
So I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I think Madison and Allen, I think, are two different people. I don't think Allen's like a 6 a.m. gym guy. I think she's a 6 a.m. gym girl. So I don't know. But the next scene we go with Madison and Allen. Madison has made breakfast in bed for Allen. And she just got his nice little pancakes and everything. She's giving him all of the good stuff. And she's like, so listen, I'm gonna do a spa day for me and my girls here. And so you're gonna need to buzz off. Now, this is what we saw in the preview last episode. We were like, oh, damn. We were like, ooh, like, that's not good. And of course, in MAFS style, they're like, nope, psych. In a confessional, Madison tells us, Alan's birthday is coming up, so I want to give him a surprise party, and I'm going to have some of my friends, some of his friends. I think this is very interesting because it's a dress up of the housewarming party of we're gonna turn it into a surprise birthday party with 4 people.
Right. It's disguised. Or it was like that also for like Camille and Thomas, where they had a substitute thing.
Right. It's also giving when we have the Where Are They Nows and we're like, we're celebrating someone's birthday. We just so happens to be when the cameras are here. Like, what isn't that crazy? Right. But yeah. So yeah, she tells us Alan's birthday's coming, so she's just got a birthday party planned for him. He's just kind of like, oh, okay, like I guess I'll take off because Alan is the pushover. Like he's just like, okay, I'll just leave and be gone.
No questions asked.
Yeah, I'll just take off. Like he literally gets up like within 5 minutes, seemingly. He's like, all right, I'm out. See ya. I'd be like, I can't like stay for like a minute, like and chill for a sec. Like, no, you gotta go now. So yeah, Alan's gone. We come back. Madison's getting ready for the party. Alan's friends show up. Her friends show up, and Alan comes into the apartment, and he is so shocked. He's like, but yeah, it was nice. It was a nice little surprise. I liked. Bleep, yeah, oh bleep. Yeah, a lot of bleeps. Did he have to cuss so much? Like, is that a thing you do a lot? You cuss a lot? He's shocked, but he loves it. They got him a little cake with a little jaguar on it. So that's really fun, really cool. Alan's only 36. I think Alan's kind of an old looking 36. What do you think?
I could could see that. Like I could easily see him being 39.
Yeah. Maybe that's part of Madison's problem. I don't know.
Like
but
if
listen,
you look at Allen, think he's older than you.
Yeah, I do, honestly.
He's your what do you call it, elder?
My elder, yeah. But I think about that a lot of people. Like, I don't know. It might be the power of the TV where I think that. I don't know. Maybe I just think I'm youthful. I don't know.
I'll never forget the shock of finding out that I was older than Tori Kelly. It's only by like a year, but she's a singer.
Okay, I was like, I don't know who that is.
Just a random person I know.
Yeah, you know Tori.
She's just the. I can't believe you never heard of Tori Kelly. Oh my gosh. Have you heard of the movie Sing, the animated movie?
Yeah, I watched that movie.
Okay, she's the elephant.
Oh.
I mean, she has her own career outside of Sing. But
she's not only known for Sing, I swear, I promise.
I saw her in concert a few weeks ago.
Oh, nice. I hope you had a good time.
It was great. I got recognized there, oddly enough. And I was like, oh my gosh, you should come to RHAP Houston. Like, it's happening in a few weeks. And she was like, oh my gosh, I will. And she was there.
You got recognized for a perfect match, right? For this podcast.
Yes. Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah, nothing else to be recognized for.
She said, do you podcast about Married at First Sight?
Are you the Aysha? Not the ASIA, the AYSHA, that one? But yes, back to the show. We do the thing that we're going to do for all these housewarming parties. We're going to split off. The groom's going to talk to the wife's people, and the wife's going to talk to the groom's people. So her people ask him, like, do you see why you guys are mad? She says, totally, I get it. He says, she's open-minded, she has her stuff together, she's intelligent, she's beautiful, she checks all my boxes. He says, the biggest hurdle is our lifestyle difference. He says, I'm a little more slow-paced than she is. I'd be down to just kind of skip the gym one day and stay in and cuddle. I don't think that she would be down with that at all. Like, he says, do you think she has the ability to, like,
would be down for that with the right person?
With the right person, not you. He asked him, like, so do you think she would ever be down to just, like, slow down? They're like, maybe, possibly with someone else.
Like, legitimately, they said for the right person.
Yeah, totally. When Madison's talking to his people, she's like, it's good. Like, we get along great. We just got to find that core and see if we can be compatible. The buddies are like, they're kind of coming at her. They're like,
they are sticking up for their friend.
Yeah, they're like, so do you see something in him that, like, does he meet your expectations as a husband? She's like, well,
high expectations.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet. She said, I'm having a hard time with it. She's like, and she does tell him, like, listen, I haven't gotten a lot of feedback from Allen about what he doesn't like about me. Like, I've saw these things that I like to find in a mate, but I haven't heard a lot of that from him. And Allen's friend says, as men, there's gonna be a lot of this episode. As men, because I'm going to speak for my gender. As a man, we tend to overlook a lot, and it's important. If it's important, he's going to let you know. But he does. The friend says, Allen's a real special guy you got here, so make sure you're treating him right. When Allen's talking to Madison's friends, he says, he's tried to include her on things that he likes, but he's not getting a lot of that in return. He mentions that she went to a game. I don't know what sport game this was. He says she went to a game with her friends and just flat out didn't invite him. Just like,
I thought he meant she went to watch a game, like at a bar or something.
I mean, either way, like, it's just like she was just like, all right, see ya. Like, not gonna throw out an invite. Like, hey, you wanna come hang out? So I thought that was very interesting. That's one of the things that kind of shows that shows the crack in the veneer what Madison's trying to do, because it's like, she's doing a lot of things without him, like excluding him, and he feels
true. Like, it'd be one thing if, like, she, for the most part, she was inviting him to stuff, but I do know, like, with some of my friend groups, we'll be like, okay, are we bringing plus ones? Like, what's the vibe? Because there will be friends that always bring their plus one, and then you're like, I thought this was a girl's thing.
Yeah, but you're talking about a normal situation, right? We're in Married at First Sight.
very confined timeline. Yes.
Right. So this is something that you know, no matter what you're doing, if it's a social event, if it's a social situation, it might be a good time to bring your new husband or wife along.
Yeah.
Alan says, maybe it's the fact that she hasn't been in a relationship for a while, and it can get tough to get back in that relationship mode when you've been out of it for so long. Her friends
That
say,
is why you have to.
Yeah,
I think
hit me with it.
There needs to be some type of like 8 weeks. Y'all live in Chicago. We're doing this 8 weeks in Houston because and I understand people can't be away from work that long, but I think that's the only way to make this work is if when you go on this honeymoon and if you don't just hit it off right away, you come back and get dropped back into normal life, go about your normal routine, you're not getting the time needed to like get to know each other, build on like in this like expedited process. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the only couples that are able to do that are the ones that spend significant amount of time together in that off time. But in this situation, there's no time when you're going to go hang out with friends. Like, I feel like that should just be off limits. But I know they can't say like, okay, get rid of your social life, because they want to see them like, how is this person going to fit into their normal life?
Or I think it's also about making that effort to integrate them into your social life. You can have a social life, but you just got married to a stranger. So you should be trying to see if you can mesh with that person within your world and your structure. I thought you were going to talk about like the fact that he talks about, she hasn't been in a relationship for a long time, which a lot of our people have that issue. So maybe she's not used to being in a relationship. I was thinking maybe like, should we have like some sort of spectrum of like, okay, you can't have been single for more than 2 years, more than a year, but you can't have just gotten out of a relationship either. Like you're
that's like, so
what is that
difficult.
Sweet spot? This is like a 6 month of like, okay, you cannot have been in a serious relationship for 6 months. That 6 months that you got out of that relationship should be time that you worked on yourself, you matured, you figured out your ish, and now you're ready to be married. It's not like I broke up with someone 2 weeks ago and I'm going to jump into this marriage. It's like, what is that time? Because a lot of people are like in Katie's like, I have been in a serious relationship for 12 years. Like, okay, what? And now you decide just to jump into a marriage? Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, but then you're going to get into so many things like, okay, by relationship.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Do I have to have been thinking seriously about marriage? Do we have to live together? What are your parameters?
Was I only dating them? Yeah.
If you exchanged the L word, that's what I would count, I think.
Yeah, and then you meet the girl who says, I tell everybody I love them.
Yeah, exactly.
So I understand like that's difficult, but it definitely is. I think if she were into this marriage, she would recognize that, okay, it has been some time and I'm in a very like individual mindset. And the only way to get out of that is to be spending as much time as I can with my new husband. So one, I can get to know him beyond what I know now. Because if she got to know him and she understood like what they have in common, why they were matched, she may be more inclined to want to hang out with him socially.
Yeah.
But they're not there yet. They don't know each other on a deep level.
I think if Alan was a nice gym bro, she would be really down. I think if Alan had the mannerisms and the nice guidance that he does in a different package, she'd be more interested to spend more time, but that's not where we are.
No.
So his friends asked, so is this something that you can see long term? She's like, I don't know. I don't know yet. Mm-hmm. And they're like, but do you actually want to do this? Like, do you want someone like as a partner? She's like, yeah, that's what I'm here for. I wanted that. I don't think it's fair, because we have this in a couple of our situations here, for people to be like, so do you see this as long term? Like, I mean, it's been 17 days. Like, let's not get crazy. I still gotta go through it,
Right. Like, I'm still getting to know him. I'm still, yeah.
So this episode we did get we got one of our first activities as a group. that some people didn't show up for. But we had a flag football game, and then after the flag football game, we divide ourselves into genders like we like to do. When we sit down and have the ladies' discussion, well, actually, we find out that Allen is not here because Allen was hungover and pretty much flat out refused to come. I think this is a kind of a different side to Allen than we've seen.
Yeah.
He's almost like a little rude of how he's just like, I'm not going. Like you, she's like, I'm going without. She's like, go ahead, I don't care. It's like, oh, okay, like,
he
cool,
was
man.
Grumpy pants.
Yeah, very grumpy. So Madison is talking with a girl. She says she's really struggling to find the romantic side of their relationship. And she talks about the fact that, we went out the night before and he got super wasted and she just doesn't find that sexy at all. And this really like hit the Gina bell for me. I was like, oh, that was like part of Gina and Clint's problem. Like she did not appreciate how hard Clint partied.
Yeah.
I was like, that really reminded me of Gina and Clint. But yeah, I mean that was pretty much them for this episode.
It's kind of like too that she already feels kind of like unsure about him, and then the fact that he goes out and like gets super drunk, to her like not thinking that's sexy. She's probably unconsciously thinking like, dang, well, he knows I'm like in this gray area and he doesn't even care to continue to try to impress me, so then it's a further turn off.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not helping his case.
It's tough. Where are you at with your rating for these peeps?
Whew. They are just, I mean, last time I was here, which you act like it was such a long time ago.
You weren't here. You missed an episode. Let's all remember that.
Yeah. I'm gonna give them a 1. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being they're not gonna be together by the reunion, 5 being they would.
Were you mad they didn't explain it last episode?
I was like, okay, if this is somebody's first time listening, they're gonna be so confused.
He didn't explain the chart there.
I was like, dang it.
I know you have a list. I'm just waiting for the list to come out. Like, here are all the things that you missed last episode. I want to come at this in a peaceful way, but here's some of the things you didn't do. I'm waiting for the list. I'm just waiting. I feel like I'm getting texted to me at some point.
Look, I crumpled it up. I threw it away. I just felt like it was going to be productive.
Yeah, then I went to the wastebasket and found it. And no, you put it out on the nightstand.
I put it out for you to see.
Yeah, just to see. Here are all the pros and cons. Oh gosh.
I'm assuming you're at a 1 too.
Yeah, they're in the one club. They're in the one basement, which is one club's getting kind of crowded this season. Honestly. So far. Not great.
Honestly, yeah, it's just it like based on Mari's great idea, I don't even think a date would help them. A specific kind of date. It needs to be a retreat, like a 2-week stay somewhere where she has to, because she's obviously, we know where the imbalance is here. He's trying, she's not, because she's not interested. But I think that if she were put in a situation where she would have to be forced to get to know him, it could help open her eyes.
But I feel like she got to know him on the honeymoon and it was like, I don't like this. Like this is not for me. I feel like her ick started the night of the wedding.
Yeah.
And it has just gotten progressively worse from there. So I don't even know if time alone would help. I just think I don't know what would help them, because I just think that they're two very different personalities, right? Allen is this like eccentric, I think Alan's interesting, right? With what the kind of things he does, the things he says, how he talks and all that stuff. Madison's a gym Barbie, right? Like we haven't gotten much more personality than that. Like the from what we have seen so far, the gym is her personality. And it's like it just doesn't mesh well with what Allen is. So I just feel like that's a problem. So that's why they're 1 for me. They're 1 for me, dog.
All right. Let's move on to Thomas and Camille. So instead of doing a housewarming party, these two are going to his brother, Tim. They're going to his house to like cook on the grill. There's a pool. It's going to be some of her people, like her sister's going. And then, so that's their version of kind of getting the family and friends together. And so, when they get there, Tim is on the grill. Already, we get a confessional from Camille saying that she really wants her friends to be able to see Thomas outside of like the straight-laced vibe. So basically, she wants to see like Thomas. She wants her friends to see Thomas kind of a little bit loosened up, and she thinks he'll be that way in this environment with his brother.
Well, I think she probably kind of wants to see that too.
True.
I don't know if she's got a lot.
I want my friends to see
my friends, yeah.
Thomas in a different element. You know, my friends really need to kind of see him loosen up. My friends need to see if we can vibe.
My friends need to know if he's going to be this like kind of straight laced, like normal guy, or if he can get wild, if he can get loose with it. My friends need to see that. My friends are going to spend the rest of their lives with him. My friends need to see that. If my friends are going to have babies with this man, my friends need to see that.
Yeah, exactly. It's so one of Thomas's friends there, his name is Sergio, and he's like, he didn't even know it was going to be a pool party.
Sergio's very upfront. Like,
yes,
he is very, he's very aggressive, if you will. he is not afraid to call out things when he sees them.
Yes. So there's a situation where they're like in a group, and Thomas asks someone like, "Oh, can you go get 2 beers, like for me and the grill master?" And Sergio was like, "What about your wife?" And then Tom was like, "Oh, okay. I should have said something, but I did bring the tequila for y'all. So after I get the beers, I will prepare something for y'all with the tequila."
Good pivot.
Yeah. I bet that's hard as a twin though for him. Like I'm sure, like, obviously his brother is married, so he has been able to get out of that, like, me and my twins mindset. But for Thomas, he hasn't had to.
Yeah. It's also kind of a bro-y mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like not a brother, but like a bro. Like,
yeah,
get me and my bro a beer. Like, it's like,
right.
Forget you ladies. Like, I'm not even thinking about y'all right now.
Yeah. So they're talking about they're like, this is when they were all in the pool, right? Like they were everybody
poolside. Yeah.
Yes, everybody got together and they're just kind of like talking about likes and dislikes. We find out like Tim's wife doesn't like roses, but Camille likes roses, and they're like, "Oh, wait, let's ask Thomas, what kind of flower does she like?" He's like, "Roses." Like she just said that.
Aysha, I know you've been gone for a while. I feel like we need to hear the Tom parts in the Tom accent.
I need to. Okay. When we get to something he says, right now. Okay, so they were like, okay, what do the things, like they asked, like, what are things that like Camille, like what are some of Camille's favorites? And he's like, well, she likes yellow. She likes R&B, neo soul music.
It's very like trivial, just like she likes music. She likes things that everyone likes. Like, okay, cool.
I was like, okay, that's a start. Like that, like, okay. I mean, I will say R&B neo soul is a specific like.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's told him that at some point. Like, what's your favorite music? Yeah. She said he likes Thai, Mexican, Italian.
He's like, basically food.
Yeah, exactly. His favorite color is blue, and she's like, so yeah, those are some of his top favorites. So her likes were a little bit less specific than his likes. But he says like he tells them like he tries to pay attention to her likes and dislikes because that's been his shortcomings in past relationships. And her sister tells him that he is lighter skinned than she's ever dated. And she said like she usually goes for like loud showboaty guys, and then her friends are like, yeah, and that never worked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's giving it's giving some insight into Camille, and I don't know if I would have pegged Camille as the type of person that usually goes for that type of guy. It wouldn't feel to me like she would be down for the loud showboaty guys. So that was an interesting insight into who she is / was.
I kind of see it as like, I mean, we have seen her want him to take more of the initiative, and usually the loud showboaty guys are more dominant, which is the only reason I could see her leaning that route, because they probably, that type of guy is like more willing to kind of like take the initiative and like in different things. But she does ask, she's like, how different is she than how she asked his friends, like, how is she different than girls that Thomas has dated in the past? And Sergio was like, well, you're more genuine. And Tim's like, yeah, you're the first girl that like didn't want something from him or didn't want to make him into something different. I was like, well, first of all,
yikes.
Second of all, that is not what she was asking. You know, she was asking physically.
Oh yeah, I can see that, but it's the line of like you're the first person that doesn't want something from him. I'm like, meaning what? Like, what do you mean? Like, I didn't understand the answer to the question, and they're like, yeah, you're more genuine than the other girls he's gone out with. You've met her twice, first of all. Like, and I'd imagine like the girls that Thomas dated sitting at home, being like just mind their own business, and then just like catching strays, like, oh, they're like, I'm not genuine. Okay,
all of a sudden, I'm not genuine.
Like, Sergio, I thought we were friends, and now you're talking crap about me. Cool. Like, oh, okay.
Right.
Like, I'll delete your number onto my phone. But yeah, so you thought that they meant more physical, like?
Well, that's what Camille was asking, like trying to see, has he dated? I know he has said he's dated black girls. I think in a different conversation with her, we know from After Party that he has dated black girls and all kinds of different races. But I felt like she was thinking more like that. But I mean, maybe she could have been talking about personality traits too. Yeah. But they gave just a very like, it wasn't in like specific like personality, like, oh, you're funnier or,
right.
But of course, this is only like you said, this is our second time meeting her. So it's not like they have much to go on.
In the collective 30 minutes I've talked to you since I met you, you seem very genuine.
Right. Then they say that basically they're like, let's stop beating around the bush. Have y'all had sex yet?
Bro, like, I don't know how you and your friends get down.
No, not like that.
It just amazes me all the time when they're just like, come out with it. Like, so y'all do it or what? Like, we are in mixed company. We are in like, I'm with people I barely know. I don't want people I barely know think about me having sex. Like, that's not what I want. So like it. And of course, Sergio's the one to ask it, because Sergio's like he's out there. He's like, so have you guys done it? That's what we're asking. Just like that's so. And you can see like, Thomas being like visibly like uncomfortable.
Right.
And Camille has to kind of take the ball and be like, it kind of answers the question. I feel like that's what their relationship is going to be if they stay married. Like, right. Tom's going to be the kind of silent one and let Camille be the mouthpiece of the relationship, which I think
it's right. I think she's having trouble seeing that that's the role that she's going to be in those situations. But she says not yet. She feels like they are turning a corner and having more conversations, like to learn more about each other. And then one of her friends said, let me find out y'all are bringing out the best in each other.
God.
Oh my goodness. And so then the friend, I think it was like the friends were in a confessional, and they still have concerns that like Thomas is not her usual type.
Or not sure if they are each other's perfect match. Did you catch that? Did you catch it?
Right. So then we do the separation thing. So Thomas is with her friends, and Thomas is like, yeah, we're like both tidy people. And Camille's sister was like, she's tidy? He's like, well, I mean, to me. And then so she's like, okay, well, that's a surprise to me, because her sister sees herself as very clean. As I guess Camille's less clean than her, but tidy enough for Thomas. And they ask like how like, is it a concern of his, like, the cultural differences, basically? And he says he doesn't see where the differences are.
Thomas doesn't understand. Thomas does not get
Like,
it. He's
what do
like,
you mean?
what is that? What is that a reference to? Is that a TikTok?
It's not. Yeah, it's
Okay.
not.
He's just like, I don't get it. I don't understand what the big deal is. Like, yeah, we grew up different, but so what? Is basically what he's saying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. She cares. I don't.
Mm-hmm. So she's with his friends and his brother, and so Tim asks, "Oh, like what do you think the cultural differences are?" She's like, "Oh, just like where we grew up. Like, for example, he mentioned a bar that y'all used to go to that had some racial incidents there, and that's a disconnect for me."
Huh? I was like, okay, interesting.
mm,
I don't think he's asking you to go to the racist bar, but okay.
it's like, I think she's implying a lot from that. Like, for example, he's saying, "Oh, there's a bar that I've been to that, like, there have been some racist incidents, which means racist people go there." And so in her mind, she's like, "So you're okay going to a place where you know that there are racist people there, and that's the company that you're keeping.
Yeah.
That's what, like, she's implying all of that. Whereas, like, Thomas, I'm hoping in that situation, he's like, that has happened, but that, like, I'm going with my friends. Like, those aren't my people.
Yeah, but I think Camille would be like, well, even if those people are occupying that space, I wouldn't go there. Like,
Right.
so
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And that's why she's saying that is a disconnect for her. Because she's seeing how they're navigating that differently.
Yeah.
But it's not, I think it's gonna be an adjustment for her to realize, like, because just because they navigate race differently doesn't mean that they are it doesn't have to mean that she feels like she's in a interracial relationship.
Yeah. And I'm just wondering if it's more about, how they're both brought up, because I think Tom is probably, unfortunately, maybe used to that type of situation where, because he talks about
Mhm.
how he's, he was a lot of times one of the only black people in his settings. I mean, there's just something he's used to, and Camille's just like, like, if that's happening, that ain't for me. And Tom's like,
Yeah.
well, Tom comes at it like, I mean, these things happen. Like, you just kind of let it brush off your
Right,
back.
you
She's
should
like,
brush it off, yeah.
I ain't going there. Like, you ain't
Mhm.
gonna catch me there. Nope. So
Yes.
it's just about the different ways they go about it.
Exactly. Which, like, it is important. Like, and it doesn't mean that, like, oh, she's gonna start navigating like him. And it also doesn't mean that for her comfort, he wouldn't start navigating it like her. Like, that could be a possibility, like,
Mhm.
he's like, okay, I understand that, like, my wife is not comfortable in this type of environment. So now I'm gonna navigate this a little differently because now I have different considerations than I did as a single guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tim does say he thinks that, in which he has said this before, he does think that she'll challenge him a little bit. They go back home and they're starting, like, meal prep, or she's starting meal prep, and he's like, yeah, so I had assumed you had dated, like, a lot more light skinned dudes, because this is referencing back to her friend saying he's lighter skinned than the guys that she usually dates. And so she was like, "Why?" He's like, "I don't know, because you are." No, here we go. "I don't know, because you are." And we get a confessional from her. She's like, "I don't know what that means."
Literally exasperated.
Yeah, she's like, "It's gonna be a process. We're gonna work through this." But she is just so beside herself that
Mhm.
was his logic.
I don't I don't know. I don't even know what to say about about this anymore. Like,
I know.
uh
I
Tom
mean,
Tom Tom may be like the most naive 42-year-old I've ever met.
yes.
I mean, I've never
Mhm.
met him, but I've ever seen. It's just like,
Yeah.
have you maneuvered in the world? Have you done things? Like, you're big boy age, still saying weird stuff.
I know, especially for someone who's like, oh, what did he say? Like when he was on After Party, he said like it was like the United Nations of dating, which because he's like dated every race or whatever. So why are you assuming she's only dated light skinned guys?
So weird.
And then I mean, I can understand why she's like, why would you assume that? And for that to be his, it'd be different if she was like, yeah, like Shamar Moore, Boris Kojo, like just starts naming all these light skin. Like, okay, then I would think, okay, that's your type. But she has not indicated that that's her type, so it was a wild assumption.
Like when she's like, have you ever dated, a black girl? He's like, one time in college, like when I was just starting college. Yeah. I was like,
yes.
That was a long time ago. Like
I know he did think college.
I'm 42. That was a while ago. I was like 20 something years ago. Like that was your one and only, or have you dated after that? Like that's a question I would like to ask, because the way he was saying it made it seem like
that was the one. Yeah, exactly. So
but he was like, but she came from where you came from, like meaning,
right,
like the ghetto,
same neighborhood,
like the ghetto, urban, black. What?
Ridiculous. That was, I was like, I can't. So she asked him like how it made him feel, like, to talk about that they have a lot of differences. And he's like, well, like I've experienced a lot of things. I've been around a lot of different types of people. Like is it a red flag for you, like these differences? And she's like, it's not a red flag or a deal breaker, but like it is a thing. And she asked him if he's dated black women. He's like, yeah, one of my first girlfriends, like he said, it was in college. That was only a few years ago.
Yeah.
Only 20 years ago when he was in college, he dated a black woman, and she was close to his family. Or no, he was close to her family. He got close to her family at the time. And so she says it does mean a lot to her that he is open about talking about this, and he wants her to feel like she can be honest. I think one thing that will help, because they're not just going to snap their fingers and be on the same page in like thinking about all this, but I do think it would help her if he understood the weight of it in their relationship. Like for her, if he understood the weight of it for her.
I think she's so busy trying to downplay it while also talking about it all the time. I think it's confusing, right? It's like it's not a big deal, but I'm gonna keep talking about it.
But don't you know we're different?
Don't you understand? I mean, listen, stay in on a rainy Saturday, turn on Living Single, turn on like exchange cultures. She can turn on Living Single, you can turn on Friends. We're mishmashing cultures. Right. We're showing each other what we like. Right. I think Camille's just gotta kind of get over it. Like,
I don't see, I disagree. Like, I don't think she needs to get over it, but I think she needs to start working towards solutions as opposed to just trying to identify the problem. Because I think like her trying to make him see what she sees, that's not working. But I think if he like understands, like, look, okay, I get that you see differences, and I am open to like you communicating that and making sure that we at least get on the same page and understanding like what that looks like for us.
Yeah, get over it was kind of like I feel like not like I'm disregarding her feelings, but no, like
yeah, don't dismiss her feeling.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say it like that. It's just like you either gotta get in or get out. You're not gonna change him, and
right.
He's not gonna start wearing African garb like within the next 2 months. So I don't know what I think this we're getting like mixed up, right? Because I feel like a lot of this is she's basing it in race, but I feel like a lot of this is like he's kind of boring. Like he's like it's the swag piece. He's
that's what it was at first for her on the honeymoon.
Yeah, and now it's kind of morphed into this.
And now she's like, wait,
about race. It's like she's almost trying to say like he's not urban enough. She hasn't said that outright, But also,
what did she
like,
try to say the other day? The other day
we
when we were talking to her. When we were chopping it up with Camille.
I mean, Camille, we're open. If you want to come chop it up, like, come on over.
One episode, she was saying like she's used to like city guys, and he's more suburban. Said, "That's not it yet, girl. Keep trying to find it, but that's not
she's not trying to say the urban word. She's trying to skirt around it, right?
She wants to just say she feels like he's not black enough.
Yes, and she's not going to say that out loud out
exactly
to the camera. She's not
the quiet part out loud in her
But
mind.
I also just kind of think it's just like I don't even know if it's about race, right? It's just like he's just kind of plain and boring. I wanted to jazz it up a little bit, like,
yeah, like some oomph.
Yeah, at least some oomph. And I don't know if oomph is really a race thing. It's just more of like a personality thing. So
yeah. But I think she's trying to find it. That's what we're hearing her try to navigate and try to put her finger on it. Typically, like maybe she needs to journal, and then maybe she will stumble upon the answer, because now it's becoming like okay, well, whatever you're saying, we're gonna try to, like, if she's saying that to the experts or friends or her sister, then they're trying to like work around that, but it's still seeming like she's like, well, I don't know.
She's having a tough time really explaining it, because she's one of our people that they say something and then we ask them, so what do you mean? She's like, I don't know. Like, it's just a feeling. It's like, it's an intangible thing that I can't get my arms around. She can't really define it. Which is, which a lot of people have issues with saying things, but they can't define what they mean. And Camille is one of them.
Yeah, for sure. So she does go, we do have, okay. Her and Thomas go to lunch with her sister. Do you know her sister's name?
Gabrielle.
Gabby, okay.
We getting like a bonus family segment. I'm like, okay, like we've seen a lot.
Just saw her.
We've seen a lot of Gabrielle, right? Like she's been in almost every episode out of the honeymoons. Like I'm surprised she wasn't tag along with the honeymoon, because we saw our last episode. We're here this episode for like 3 segments. But listen, not to say that I don't like Gabrielle, because I felt like in this segment that we're going to talk about, she's like spitting some facts, spitting some truths.
Yeah. So he tells, should we say Gabrielle? He tells Gabrielle that he learned that he was not Camille's typical type. And Camille's like, yeah, like maybe I should have led with that. And that is why that initial spark was like slow moving. He said that like they grew up in different areas and they have differences in how like they interact. And Gabrielle was like, we have 3 Black identifying people here right now talking about race and like what that looks like. And she was like, y'all have to decide as a couple y'all have to decide what it looks like to be like, to present yourselves as a Black couple. Like how are y'all deciding to do that? Because it doesn't look one way. And she says they've all been in like predominantly white spaces before, but it seems like Camille has walked away from that with a different like understanding or a different outcome than Thomas does. Mm-hmm. Like it had a different impact on her, basically. And Gabrielle goes on to say like being a Black woman is such a unique experience. Because obviously there's being Black, then you keep going inward, and then there's being Black. There's different experiences being a Black woman and being a Black man. There's different experience being light skin versus dark skin. There's just so many like of these like pockets of showing that being Black is not a monolith. And, not all Black people are the same. And so I just felt like this was a very good conversation in like helping him understand like the depth of that topic. At least we know that that's not going to fix the problems that Camille is having with him, but just understanding like what perspective Camille has on her Blackness, like from her sister's perspective.
Yeah, Thomas has been like, I don't get it. Like, we're it almost out of his mouth. He's like, we're just all people. Like,
Right.
like, no, we're not
And
just all
and
people.
and Camille would have just been like, and that's where we're different.
Yeah, see, that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like, but
That's what I mean.
that's it right there.
Yeah.
Videotape that, show it to the experts. That's the issue.
He's one step away from I don't see color.
Yeah, I don't see color. I'm just talking about. But it's just like, yes, like, Gabby, it feels like she's gone to school for this, or I think she mentions that she works in this type of arena about dealing with race and identity. So I like that the points that she was making, but she did say, she's like, you guys, men, you're just all men, but we are black women. I was like, well, yeah, there is like, we're not just all men, right? We're black men, we're whatever men. Like, as someone that is interracial and has been looked at from many different lenses, from many different people, there's some people that see me and say, you're black. There are other people that says, you're not quite black. And so that being like, I didn't like how she was like, you're just all men, right? You just think like men. Like, no, not exactly. There's still a world out there where we have to think as black men.
Yeah.
Right? Just as she's saying, black women go through life thinking about how they are black women. So I was like, most of what Gabby was saying, I was like, I'm with you. I'm on 100%. And I was like, some of it was like, okay, like, he's speaking from a different perspective than I have, but it's whatever. But I overall, the conversation was good. And I thought it gave Thomas a little bit more of that perspective he was looking for, maybe, and a little bit of understanding.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it definitely, I mean, well, I don't, that's a big statement. I was going to say, I think it definitely helped. I think it was a good conversation to have. If we walk away from this and he still kind of is like, I still don't get it, then that's going to be tough, because I felt like this was a productive conversation to like just get that understanding. It's not like he has to agree, and not necessarily that this is something to agree or disagree with, but yeah, it just kind of like paints a clearer picture, I guess. But she does say, Gabby also goes on to say that their brother has dated many types of women. So she's speaking from the standpoint of how even their brother had like represents himself in a different way. Not in the women that he dates, but just like if you ask him about his identity. Yeah. And Camille doesn't want to get hung up on this ongoing issue. She wants to work through it. She wants to work on their marriage as a whole. But this is a thing that is holding her back, which is why it's the ongoing issue.
Yeah, it seems like next episode is the sex and intimacy episode, and it's it seems like as Thomas as like as unaffectionate or as unsex as they are, Thomas and Camille are still like most affectionate couple. So it looks like they're going to get the full sexual treatment next episode with all that entails.
Yeah.
So maybe that will jumpstart something. Who knows?
Right. Maybe. I don't know why Haley from Jake and Haley was the first to come to mind, where she's thinking, well, maybe if we just get physical, that'll help. They're definitely way better off than Jake and Haley. Yeah. This isn't like a desperate attempt to like make things work, but I do think that this is kind of like what do you call it? I don't know. Not a bump in the road. Maybe a bump in the road. Yeah. It's minor in terms of like their progression. It is important for them to have a good understanding, especially once they start having kids. Like that is something they do need to be on the same page about as a couple, like how they, what role culture plays in their relationship.
It's an important conversation, but I like that Camille said it's not a deal breaker. Like it's not something that's going to end our relationship. It's just something that we need to think and talk about in detail. So if it doesn't feel like it's something that's going to ruin the relationship, so we'll see. What's your rating looking like for Thomas and Camille?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, I was hoping they were going to be like a solid 5 all season. But they're not like a 3. Because I've been at a 5 with them. I think I'm gonna go to a 4, which has the potential to go back up to a 5 if all goes well next week.
I'm gonna keep it at a 5. I'm just gonna keep the faith. You know why? Because I just feel like they're both so stinking like mature. Even though Thomas can have hit these little like moments, I still think they're both mature enough to have mature conversations and not be resentful, not be passive aggressive. So I feel like they have what it takes to really navigate their way through this eventually. They're kind of a little clunky with it right now, but I think we'll get there. As time goes. So I'm gonna keep it at my 5. I'm gonna keep the faith.
All right.
All right. Next up, we are going to Juan and Carla. We got house chores for Juan and Carla. He is cleaning the kitchen, which is supposed to be her chore. She's like, "Hey, I got the kitchen. You take the bathroom." And Juan goes to the bathroom and is the happiest person I've ever seen clean the bathroom. He's like talking his way through cleaning the toilet. I feel like it's someone that like doesn't usually clean the bathroom. He's like, "Oh my gosh, like this is weird." Like,
yeah, it's like you can clean the.
Yeah, I usually have a cleaning lady for this, but like this is something. Look at this. I'm cleaning a toilet. Oh my god. So he's talking about how sparkling this toilet is going to be. All the people he's inviting over, they're going to love this toilet. We find out that their theme party is going to be a Toga.
You didn't get hints of like I know it seemed like he was just having a good time, but you didn't get hints of like I am subtly hinting that I wish you were helping.
A little passive aggressiveness.
Yes.
From Juan. I feel that a little bit, especially when he was like cleaning the kitchen. He was making some kind of remarks and she was like, well, I was going to go over there and clean the kitchen, but you start already.
Because it was like there was a stark contrast in like she's doing the sage. And he's like
everything he's doing.
Cleaning the counters.
And she has this look on her face as he's like peppily cleaning the toilet. She's like, "Oh my god!" I feel like Carla is low-key annoyed at Juan at all times, and she's just not showing it outwardly.
Yeah.
We find out their party's going to be a Toga party. Now, we used to have banging themes on these parties. We used to have like good stuff. Like we used to go all out. People would buy costumes. People would get tons of decorations. I feel like we were just really the past like couple seasons. We are really phoning it in. Like, come on, people. Juan and Carla is probably the most inventive with this Toga party. Everyone has to get a toga. We see Juan trying to try on his yoga. His toga. It's not going great. We do get to the Toga party. The friends come over. I think it's like his brother, his cousin, one of his friends, and she has 2 friends coming over. Everyone shows up, including Yinka, who was sporting this like nice black cape he's got with his little toga. It's like, all right.
You said Toga party. I'm always ready for a theme.
I said, all right, Yinka, come on, show out. We talk about how things are going. We talk about the expert visits, and Carla says, yeah, it really helps because it's helping them communicate easier, be more vulnerable, especially in a respectful way. Juan's like, because me, like I say a bunch of off the wall stuff, and she really just needs to kind of check me sometimes, because this has been Juan's thing. When you pull his string, that's what he says. Because I don't know what's going to make you angry. You have to talk to me about it. I don't know. I can't guess these things. You got to
read your mind.
Can't read your mind if you're female. So basically now we split up again. We see Juan with her friends. I guess whatever Carla and Juan's people talked about was not interesting at all because we get no footage from their talk at all.
Yeah, it was like very, very minimal. Because I thought
we didn't get anything.
I thought we got something from Juan.
No, we did. We didn't get anything from Carla.
From Carla. Oh, because they went on the tour. And you didn't.
But the tour is just an excuse to divide off and talk.
But I'm saying, did you see a cameraman sprinting after them? It just wasn't documented.
I think there was a camera. I think that it was shot, and they were just like, "Yeah, there's nothing here. Like, we can't include the episode. This was a bunch of nothing." But
we need more time for MMEKG section.
Yeah, for sure. But we do get the Juan conversation with her friends. So he's like, "Yeah, I'm still trying to learn about her and what she does and does not like." because I can't just guess these things. You got to tell me. He says, the communication still needs work. He asks the friends, like, what do you guys think would help? The friends say, Carla is so independent. She's got to get used to being with another person. And the friend says, so let me ask you, Juan, this isn't any kind of trap or anything, but do you compliment Carla? It's like she's reading it from her arm. Like, do you compliment Carla? And you can tell like Juan's kind of like found himself in a trap. He's like, I do, but I don't go too far. He's like, I could be doing better. Because the friend says, yeah, because Carla told us that you don't compliment her. It's like, okay, so you knew the answer to the question before you already asked it. You just wanted to see what I would say. And, it feels, to her, it kind of feels like you're not in it 100%. She needs a little more intimacy and affection. Juan starts talking about, it's another one of his lines. I have 2 businesses. I got a full-time job. He's like, sometimes I just forget about her. I'm like, did you not learn from the honeymoon not to say stupid stuff like that? He's like, sometimes I'm just so busy, I forget about her. It's like, oh my gosh. He says he will try harder.
I don't understand. This is what I need to understand. Because it's not a common, it's not like, I'm trying to find the words. These people go on these shows and they make it seem like all single people think that, oh, I'm just too busy. Like, I don't have time to like incorporate a relationship. Like, you make time for what you want to make time for.
Yeah, but my thing also is, if you're so busy, why did you do this? Why did you come on this show where you're going to have to get married to someone and spend time with them if you don't have time? Like,
right.
If you're in a situation where you can't make time, you have to, like, because Juan is trying to fund these businesses. He has to work all the time. So why did you do Married at First Sight? If you know yourself and you know that you're not going to have time, why waste our time?
Yeah.
He does say he's going to try harder to notice things and compliment her about them. And the friend's like, well, I mean, I don't want you to feel like, you're obligated to. He's like, no, I want to. It's like, sure, Juan, sure. But again, Juan keeps saying, she's just got to tell me how she's feeling. She got to let me know. It's like, all right, cool. So that was the Juan and Carla's people conversation. Again, we got no Carla and Juan's people at all.
Yeah.
But the next scene is we're going to bed. You can tell that Carla is a little like, she's a little perturbed. She's a little upset. She's like, so our conversation about affection. I want to know what makes you feel loved. And Juan's like, for me, actions are a big thing. He's like, kind of like how I cleaned up after the party for you. Like, that was an action for you. So you don't live here? Like, this is your house? You didn't clear the house for yourself as well? Which is also like, someone that hates passive aggressiveness. He's being very passive aggressive.
I interpreted this completely different. I saw it as he wanted her to clean. Because he's okay. I thought you were saying like, because you were saying, right, but you were saying, you were like, do you not live here?
Yeah, well, it's kind of both things, right? Because he's like, he's saying like, I did that for you. It's like, I mean, you live here too, so you kind of did it for yourself,
right? Like we should both.
But he's also like trying to do a subtle dig of like, I cleaned up because you didn't clean up.
Then I saw that both the same as you.
Up. We should have both been cleaning, but I did all the cleaning and I did that for you because you refused to do it.
Like, he wants her to have the thought to be like, well, let me clean up for him.
Right.
Or like, let me clean up to show this is me expressing my love.
You remember that was a big thing with Katina and Elijah Juan. You remember that big fight of like, I'm over here sleeping and you're not doing nothing. You're over here sleeping.
Yes.
But yeah, we get a whole surveillance camera shot of Juan cleaning the apartment after the party. She says, so what do you want? She wants to know more about what do you want your partner to do? Like, do you want me to clean up? Is that what you want your partner to do? He's like, no, not really. He's like, he tells her like, listen, I'm satisfied with what I'm getting already. So like, I don't feel a big need for change. I was like, but you're not really getting anything. Like, we haven't really
Right.
seen much of anything.
I'm like, okay, so you don't see a need for change. So if decision day was tomorrow, would you say yes?
Right. So it's like, what?
Or stay married or whatever it is?
Yeah. Because he's talking about, my parents, they did this and that. Carl's like, listen, I don't care about your parents. I don't care about no one else. I'm asking you, how do you feel loved? He says, well, he says actions is how he feels loved, not necessarily physical affection. He's not a big cuddler and kisser. And Carl's like, that's funny because I'm a huge cuddler and kisser. That's what I really like. It's like, ooh.
And this is where it would be important to talk about love languages
Mm-hmm.
and how, everybody's love languages are different. You have to know how to tend to your partner's love language, but then also make sure it's communicated what yours is so they know how to tend to yours.
And that would have been a real good thing to bring up with the experts and see if they were maybe
Right.
like matching these two people's love languages. Because I feel like that's a thing. Like, that's a real big thing. Yeah. So in confessional, she says, hopefully as the relationship grows, the physicalness will grow too. I don't know about that. We on the boys and girls flag football outing, Carla tells the girls that she just really feels a platonic vibe from Juan. And she says it's like kissing my cousin. And Juan is sharing kind of the same sentiment. He's like, he doesn't feel that organic chemistry yet with Carla. He's like, I know she's beautiful, I know she's hot and all that stuff, but the physical attraction is just not where he wants it to be. Man.
I thought this was funny that she didn't understand love languages, but she's like, that's not what I'm asking. I'm like, no, that's exactly what you're asking.
Yeah.
But him, I don't think that's it. I think he thinks she's attractive.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're just not connecting because
no.
It seems confusing for him to say the physical attraction isn't there.
I think it's another personality clash, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, they just seem like two different people. They seem like they would be good friends. I just don't know if they would be good romantic partners, right? And we haven't even gotten into the whole like work situation of like, I'm so different in this way because I work, and you are a free spirit, which is what we really kind of thought their main thing would be, but just kind of seems like they're both kind of just there. Right.
Right.
And in this episode, Carl is trying to dig deeper and be like, so how can we jumpstart this? And Juan is just not giving her anything. Juan's like, what's the problem? We're fine, right? We're good. She's like, no, bro, we're not. Like, I want to like get this thing started. And you're just kind of sitting here like a lump on a log.
Yeah. If they can't meet in the middle, even with how they receive love, like if we go back to that, if they can't even meet in the middle there, like they're never, I mean, because acts of service and physical touch, completely different love languages, right? Like,
yeah, totally different.
Completely different. But it's like, okay, if he needs to understand, okay, if physical touch means stuff to her, means that to her, then that's what she's going to need. Like if she needs cuddles, I don't care how I feel about cuddles. I'm loving her in the way that she wants to be loved. And the same note, she also like, okay, let me understand what that means. Because she's thinking, oh, that actions. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the way that I love. Yes, Carla. Some people love through acts of service. Yeah. So, yeah.
And it seems like most of all, Juan is. I don't see him as someone that's willing to budge. He's like, oh, you like physical affection? Well, I don't.
Well, I don't.
So we're just not going to do that a lot. Like, so sorry. Have a happy life with me.
Right.
Physical affection. I don't remember where I had them last week in my ratings with Mari. I feel like I had them at a 2. Oh man, are they going into the 1 club? Are they going to the basement? I think it's a little premature to put them in the basement. Let's give them a 2.
Drop off. You were at a 4 and I was at a 3 last time.
Yeah, I'm gonna put them at a 2. I want to see what this sex conversation brings up next episode and see if that helps anything. I don't have a lot of hopes, but let me get them at a 2 for right now.
Okay. I too am at a 2, actually.
You were at a 2?
I was, so wait, I got it confused. I was at a 4 I was at the 4 episode 6. You were at a 3.
You weren't here episode 7 because you ditched us. Now we're on 8.
And hey, shout out to all the people that were at RHAP Houston. I know we're an hour and a half in, but shout out to everybody that I met. That if you listen to this podcast,
if you're still in an hour and a half, you were a real one.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to all of those. There was a picture posted of me and what was her name?
Oh, yes, with a cider.
With the cider, yeah. Yes. So shout out to her, because she was like, oh my gosh, I'm taking a picture with a cider. I was like, please post that so Jason can see. That was with Lee Manning. So shout out to you.
Hey, what up?
From
Lee?
my site. There's actually a cider from the place that I did my premiere party at.
Oh, the cidery. Listen, I know those photo ops cost a pretty penny. So shout out to you, Lee, for doling out the bucks. Where are we going? Where are we going next?
Let's discuss David and Michelle. Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about the couple that needs to go ahead and call it. What are we still talking about? That's really spot on.
Yeah, boy. She's trying to try, right? She's trying to give the aura of trying.
She's trying to make it look like she's trying.
That's what I just said.
You said she's trying to try. She is not trying to try.
She's given the aura of trying. She's given the illusion of trying.
Mm-hmm. Well,
she's doing a worse job of fake trying than Madison is.
Madison, for sure. They're in a competition.
Is the quintessential, like, look at me, I'm trying. And Michelle's just like, I'm here. Like, what do you? I'm trying. What do you want?
Yeah. So we start out with like a David on his phone, that type of like selfie video. He just got done with the gym. He wrote Michelle a note saying that he's gonna run. He's running errands back at home, and he's like, look, I'm just trying something different than we usually communicate over text. Now I'm just leaving her a note. Maybe like that is just something. Listen, I think he's trying.
I guess. I'm like, I don't know what. I don't know how a written note of, like, it's not a love note. It's just like a, hey, I'm gonna be gone note. Like,
right.
Okay, I don't know what. It feels like something to try, just to try something.
It is, yeah. I mean, that's the point he's at.
I don't know what he expected to get out of this. I don't think Michelle understood what he expected to get out of this. But it's something, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's at the point where he's just like, well, maybe if I don't know, maybe if I sit in the chair rather than the couch, she'll be more willing to talk to me.
Maybe if I wear a black tank top rather than a white tank top,
now you're getting
something.
Yeah. Yes, you got it. So they're preparing for the housewarming party they're doing. She says we get a confessional from her that she's excited about the housewarming party, but she's not sold on the marriage. But she has realized they have more fun in a group setting, which same, Michelle. I have fun with plenty of people that I don't want to hang out with in a group setting.
When I don't have to be around him one-on-one, when there are other people I can talk to besides him, we have a great time. We're not gonna just totally ignore him we're not gonna totally ignore him in a group of people. We're great.
Yeah, exactly. So he says, like, how are you feeling? Like, has this been good for us? Because basically she's not living there, even though she has a room.
Well, he has talked about the fact that they work different shifts, so they're not seeing each other a lot. Again, I'm just like, so why are you here? If you work so many long hours and such weird shifts, why did you do this, my man? Like,
right?
Did you think this is a good idea? Like,
the only explanation is that they both super downplayed it. Well, it seems like she has more of the.
Well, she has a normal shift. He's the one that works odd hours. Yeah.
Yes. So she says, well, obviously, like, we don't talk during the week. He's like, well, I left you a note and, like, you didn't respond. She's like, did you want me to leave a note?
so fed up. And
like, she hates him.
She cannot stand this man. And because she's like, well, you weren't here last night, so you didn't let me know. Like, since we're calling people out, like, oh snap. He's like, well, I wasn't trying to call you out. Like, I mean, you kind of were though. Like, you kind of did.
So here's the thing. When you can't stand somebody, something as small as this will feel like an attack. Because there was no reason for her to say, since we're calling people out, when did this escalate?
He did kind of low key call her out. He's like, I wrote you a note, but you didn't respond. So
that's not calling her out. That's stating the facts.
That was snitching on camera. That's how she looked at it. Like, oh, you're gonna snitch on me in front of mom and dad, aka the audience. That's what you're gonna do here. You're gonna let them know I didn't respond to your stupid little note.
It's so annoying because it's just like, what are we arguing about now? The note that he tried to leave because he was just trying something.
She was like, oh, so we're doing that? That's what we're doing? Well, you didn't come home last night. How about that?
He's like, well, like I didn't want, like, what was I gonna do? Like, I didn't want to wake you up or whatever. He had some type of explanation, right?
We didn't really spend a lot of time on the fact that he didn't show up to
I'm sorry. Why are we expecting him to be loyal in this relationship? It's not a relationship.
I think I'm going to be saying that a lot during the course of the season about David.
I'm just like, and I mean it in a way of like, if you're in this situation, you don't owe Michelle any type of, it's not a relationship.
This is literally a preview of what probably the rest of the season is going to be like when you find out this cheating scandal. But he is the one that's like, we need to try, we got to do this and that. So then you should be the one coming home. If you're going to be spouting off like, this is a marriage, we got to try.
We have different expectations like that. We have, not me and you, but just like to expect him to commit and do all the right things. And she has one toe in that apartment. Mm-hmm. It's just like,
well, she's hanging her hat on the one time she texted him, was like, I'm not coming home.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's like, but you didn't do that for me.
He's like, oh, brother.
Right? He's now offended that she's called him out. He goes back in. He's like, well, last night I also texted you and didn't get any response. I didn't get nothing. And she's just kind of like, she doesn't even address it. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, he was like, well, what's the best communication like for our schedule? She's like, well, we just have completely different schedules. And we get confessional from him. He's like, I'm trying hard, but I'm just at a dead end.
She's just like, he's like, what can we do? She's like, nothing. I don't want to talk to you. Like, get the hint, buddy. Like, I'm literally counting the days so I don't have to see you ever again.
Right, literally. So it's party time. He's trying to get his friends in. He's on the phone. Her friends arrive, so he doesn't really get to like greet them or whatever. And then his friend walks in. His friend Mike walks in. And he's like, that must be my sweetheart of a friend. And then Mike walks in and David goes, hey, babe.
Yeah. I was like, what? What is happening? What's going on? This is interesting. And then Mike brings a present that apparently we can't see. We're not allowed to see what it is because it's something that's not suitable for television.
Right. And Mike tells David, he's like, you look cute, but I don't know what this gift is. And then because of the gift and they can't open it or whatever, Michelle makes a face. Mm-hmm. And then
I think it's supposed to be something possibly sexual. I don't know.
Probably. Yeah.
And Michelle's like, we're not going to be using that ever at all.
Mm-hmm. She's like, why does he expect for us to use something like that?
What are we, husband or wife?
Right. So Mike's just trying to like break the ice, and he's like, so y'all know, have y'all known her a while? And Michelle's like, well, yeah, that's my sister. And then it's
like Michelle, he didn't know that. Like,
know that.
Lay off. She's like, dummy.
She acted like that was like her twin or something.
Yeah, like, that's my sister, you idiot. Of course I've known her for a long time. Like, all right. I'm down. Cool.
And then it's like one of her old coworkers. And
she has the nerve to get the amount of time she's known the old coworker wrong. She's like, I've known you for like 5 years.
She's like, it's been 8.
She's like 8.
Listen, but COVID threw off a lot of stuff. That was like a 2 or 3 year period that just like has made time seem weird.
How many years have you known me, Aysha?
4 years.
Okay, almost 5.
Yeah.
Time is just ticking by. Doesn't seem like 4 years.
I know. Weird. 4 years, and I've seen you in person 3 times?
4. Thanks a lot. I guess I'm real memorable.
Is it really 4 times?
No, it's 3.
Oh my gosh. We're almost on track with 1 a year.
Yeah. We're gonna get that average.
We need to catch up.
Yeah.
So Michelle decides to take Mike on a tour through the apartment, but it just ends in her room.
They just go straight
closing the door.
Just go straight into a room and close the door. I'm like, oh, okay. Like there's no transition here. It's just like I'm gonna pull Mike into a conversation. She's like, nope, we're just going.
I'm actually just gonna close the door.
Mike does not have time to stick around all day. Mike, we gotta get this grilling scene done, and we gotta get him out of here.
Right.
The door just closes. It's like, it's like, oh, I guess they're going off to talk. Cool.
So David is with her sister and her coworker, and so they just start talking about their like they get right into it, and they said like she doesn't want somebody who doesn't match her lifestyle, and like she doesn't want someone
that's what she says to his friend, basically. Well, they both say it, I think.
Wait. She said that. Oh yeah. She tells Mike she doesn't want someone who didn't match her lifestyle. So she says she comes from like humble beginnings, and she worked hard to have what she has, and she just wants to enjoy things and not and she wants to enjoy things and then spend it the way that she wants to spend it, right?
AKA she don't want no broke boys.
Yeah. And so she asked Mike, she's like, why didn't he move out before? And Mike was like, why rent when you could stack money? He's like, let me ask you. He's like, you're renting, right? How much are you paying for rent? And she's like, like $2,350. He said, exactly. And I own, and I pay $1,200.
She said $2,350. I was like, oh, $2,350. I know for you, Aysha, that's nothing. But for most of us, I was like, damn, like, ooh, Chicago City living. Woo wee. And Mike was like, yeah, I paid $1,200. Like, I'm with that guy.
Right. He said, I own and I paid $1,200. He said, so like he was like, David could buy whatever he wants. He could do the condo or whatever. But why settle when you can just save to like get something you really want? I was like, I like this friend.
Spitting facts to Michelle. And Michelle's just like, yeah, I get it. Yeah.
And Mike's like, so like David is putting in effort, but like you're not. And she's like, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
She's like, you're damn right. I not put no effort in.
She said, like, I think he's a great guy. And Mike's like, all right, well, sooner or later, he's like gonna shut down big time. So
he's gonna cheat on you sooner or later.
And so David is outside in the living room with her friends, and he asked her, like, okay, do y'all know what's going on? And her sister's like, enlighten me. I was like, oh, that is her sister. Because we know you know every detail.
You know every single thing that's going on.
Exactly. He says he knows there's some things he needs to change, and he knows it's all about compromising and adapting, but he wants some insight on what he could do better. And her sister is like, well, do you think if you change too much, like you're not going to be yourself anymore? And he's like, no, like, I feel like the things I'm changing, it would be like for us. He's like, and I know she's concerned about me matching her lifestyle. And the friend asked, like, okay, well, how are you enhancing her life? And he's like, she said that.
You know, one thing David could do is take that stick out of her ass. That would be enhancing her life.
He says she stated that I'm a great man and I am trying to keep the marriage there. And the sister was like, look, our parents have been divorced and married. She's like, I dated my husband for 11 years before we got married. She's like, and like your parents have been together for over 30 years. Your grandparents have been together for so long. So she was like, we come from different like upbringings in terms of like relationships. So she was like, that does impact how we see relationships, which I did think was really good insight.
But I'm also in my list of people that should not have done this show, Michelle is in bold. Because that again is like we have different feelings of commitment in a relationship. So you thought
8 weeks is not enough.
So you thought it was a good idea to give the ultimate commitment to a stranger if you don't like regular commitment. Help me make sense of this.
Make sense.
The math's not mathing
at all. And so he's like, what's best for me to do? Like, how do I go about this situation? She said, well, maybe you can do things that are like more her style. Like think of stuff that's like more on her side of town and whatever. So the next thing we got from them was he was cooking and she's like, oh, can I help? And he's like, no, like this is my treat to you. So you can see that I'm capable. And he's like, yeah, so like tomorrow we play flag football with everybody. It should be fun with other couples. And, you know, oh my goodness, I'm so sore from doing legs with Madison at the gym.
I think we all looked up at that moment like, oh.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, now I'm paying attention.
More gym dates with Madison? Okay.
She's like, oh, when'd you work out with Madison? He was like, oh, it was like 6 a.m. on like Tuesday or Wednesday or something. So y'all communicated outside of the group text to go work out together, which y'all probably do every day.
Having little gym rendezvous. Okay, cool.
So now we see why Allen can't go to the gym with her at 6 a.m.
Yeah. And like Michelle's reaction is just like,
like noted.
Yeah.
So I can conveniently use that as an excuse for her why I'm checked out of this marriage. Yep, not everything else that has happened. Not all.
Like, not how. Just gonna put that in my back pocket.
Right.
So later.
So I was like, oh gosh, like him and Madison probably know each other way better than Michelle and Allen at this point. Mm-hmm. So he asks, she asked if her friends had any insight for him.
I think it was confusing. She asked if his friends, after talking to Michelle, had any insight about Michelle.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, what did your friends say about me, basically?
Right. And he was like, well, like that you had a checklist that I didn't really fit. And she was like, you had a list. And he was like, well, no, I mean, I just meant like, you know, he like a physical, basically. And she was like, so you just had this physical criteria and you just hoped I was a good person? He was like, well, like, okay, like genuine, loyal, honesty. She's like, that's a checklist. So she's getting mad in this moment that he has now said that she has a checklist that he didn't fit.
Well, because to her, everything he's saying is a dig, right? Mm-hmm. Because like, I think she believes he's saying she's like stuck up. She's got these like crazy standards that he's not fitting. So he's like, she thinks that's a dig against her. And so she's trying to like turn it back around on him. Like, well, you know, I'm not the only one that had a checklist. You had a checklist too. He's like, but not like that. Like, I didn't have a checklist like that. Like, they asked me what I was attracted to and I told them, but I don't have this like crazy list of criteria that you have to follow and fit. Yeah. So yeah, she got offended by that, like real hard.
Well, she said, well, for the record, I came with more than like just, she was like, I have more criteria than just financial. He's like, yeah, he's like, I just want you to be honest, you know, just hearing that just hurts. And she said, like, you could just continue to be yourself. He gives her some more wine. He's like, look, I'm very attracted to the outfits that you wear. She's like, yeah, like I could steer you and help you a little bit, like maybe less tank tops. I'm not a fan of the jean shorts. She's like, but I think I can level you up. He's like,
Brother.
it just might spark a connection.
He gives her one little compliment. She's like, "Yep, I can take you to a new place." Meanwhile,
Yes,
she's sitting here in a all jean outfit. She's like,
I didn't even notice.
she's like, the jean shorts gotta go. It's like, okay, Little Miss. Like, I don't know if what you is that a romper? What she was wearing in the scene before that, like in the little dinner party, like
I'm not the person to
your
ask.
your
I
little
never
one
notice
piece,
clothes.
your little one piece pantsuit wearing. He tried to give her
Yeah.
some compliment. She's like, yeah, because your style is terrible. Like, oh, okay, I didn't mean for you to shoot back at me when I gave you a compliment, but okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, she took this and ran with it. I mean, partially because they have nothing else to talk about, but he did cook chicken and potatoes. She said it was really good. He's like, actually, I would like to do that sushi again. She's like, oh, okay, you like that? And he's like, yeah, I did enjoy it. So we'll see if they ever make it on another sushi date, maybe in a group setting.
Yeah, for other people.
So let's see. Well, at flag football, because flag football wasn't much substance,
No.
but David did play really hard.
And Michelle hated that. She hated that he
Yeah,
was
she was
having
like
fun.
the narrator of it.
Yeah, she's like, he's having so much fun. Like she looked like she was disgusted that he was having a
Yeah, she's like, why is he playing so hard? But yeah, people were pulling stuff and needing a Theragun, and they were playing way too hard. Madison tweaked her foot.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas strained his quad and his calf.
So what happens to get the old people out there?
Yeah,
that's what we get an older cast.
Right. But David told the guys, like, he made them dinner and the conversation was flowing. So that did make him happier. So this was just like one little like positive on top of all of the negative in their relationship. But Michelle said that they're doing a lot better. They're on the same page. And then people started talking about the expert visit. And she's like, yeah, I blacked out on our expert visit because it felt so heavy.
She's like, all the blame was on me. Yeah, because you deserved it.
Right. All right. So let's see. Let's rate them.
Yeah, they're in the one club.
I think they will be for the rest of the season until we like stop updating them because we're no longer tracking that couple.
Yeah. Until we do the couple swap, we're rating like them and their other couples.
Right, exactly.
And their new couples.
Right. All right.
And now for the main event. MM and Akechi.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. So we're getting ready for the party. The theme of this party is bringing Mexico to Chicago because they love Mexico so much. They're going to try and bring it back to Chicago. We get into this whole conversation about fish tacos. MM says, yeah, I decided to get fish tacos from a place. I was going to make them, but it'll be my first time making them. And I didn't want to kill everybody with like undercooked fish. So it's like, ha ha, right? Like, nice joke. He's like, oh, well, if you had told me, I could have made the fish tacos. Like, all you got to do is like, do this, this, and that. And she's like, well, you didn't say anything about you wanting to make them. It's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, but I could have. If you'd asked me, I really could have. And I was like, are y'all about to fist fight? It's getting like very tense. It's like, oh, well, if you had just communicated and said, because and I was like, well, you know what? It's not too late. I can get you the stuff. You can go ahead and make them. He's like, oh, well, I mean, you already called it in. You already, you already got the order in. So, I was just saying, I'm just saying, like, if you had told me, I could have. Like, I don't want to, but I could have.
That's where he lost me.
He was
the moment he lost me. I don't want to. So why are we having this conversation? Why did you bring that up?
Why did you even talk about it? Because he wanted to get some brownie points because he said he would have made them. And then she called his bluff and he's like, oh, you actually thought I would make them? No. I just said I could have made them.
And this is what I missed commenting on last week was the moment he saw her apartment.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was like oh shoot. That's when I said
we have trauma flashbacks, Aysha? Could you relate?
Yes. There years ago. It wasn't that long. I mean, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. I went on a date with a guy that I showed him. No, it couldn't have been 3 years ago because I was in this house. And I moved in here almost 3 years ago. And he saw my house and he was like, "You have a nice house. You have a nice job. You have a nice car." He's like, "What do you need a guy for?" And I was like, "Is that honestly your mindset?" You get out. That literally, the way Ikechi responded to seeing her place reminded me of that exact moment. I was like, that is the Houston guy mindset for you. Like, if I can't provide for you,
that's that down south thinking right there. That's the men from the south.
If I can't provide for you, then what is this? What is the point of this? Which is like, this conversation felt so passive aggressive because it was like the fact that she took it upon herself to go ahead and purchase these tacos so that they didn't have to make them. He took it as well, why didn't you think I couldn't provide them for you? Like, why didn't you just ask me so I could solution for it? And it's like, because it's just ordering tacos. I think it was bigger than that for him. It was deeper than that, than just, oh, this is tacos. It's like, no, she decided to provide the food for the party and just already, and like on her own, made this decision without incorporating me into it.
I mean, well, listen, we already know that Ikechi is pretty insecure, and it really just feels like throughout this whole episode, it was just shining brightly. Because we get into this whole thing of like, I would have made him if you just asked me, and it's getting a little tense. It's getting a little like right under the surface or about to blow
I was
up.
like, did they fight about something else before this?
Yeah. And in case she's like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and shut up now before I have to make some tacos. I'm like, I wrote that. Yeah, you should shut the hell up. We find out that her friend Chrissy and her cousin are coming. And this is the cousin that I'm sure y'all remember we had at the wedding who was kind of grilling Ikechi. Ikechi automatically is like, well, he's like, I mean, the way you said it, like, just let me know if there's going to be a problem. He's like, if there's beef, it's like, sir, who are you? Who? Mr. Big and Bad. He's like, because he's like, last time we talked, like things got a little heated. We get the flashback. He's like, I'm not saying like I wasn't scared of nothing. Like, I'm just saying
I ain't scared of him.
I ain't scared. I just want to know if it's going to be a problem,
For the record.
Yeah. MM says, I'm sure it'll be fine this time around. He's like, I'm sure he's going to be a little more laid back. It'll be fine. We're still getting ready for the party. MM is playing with Rico. That dog is trained. She's like, get in your bed and sit. And he did it. I was like, oh, okay. This is a little gentleman we got right here. Like, this is a nicely trained boy. Sure, Aysha was like, good job, Rico.
There was a video I posted this week on my Instagram story that I accidentally trained Pepper to, like, sometimes, because she has a lot of like fur, right? So sometimes when she goes to potty outside and she goes number 2, then I need to like clean her up if it got anywhere, right?
Oh my.
And so I have wipes that handle that. But every time I do it, I say, hey, let me clean your booty. And so
she turns around, like presents you her booty.
Yes,
like,
yes.
Here you go, mama.
She and so like this week, she always does that. And so I was like, let me record it this time. So I said, Pepper, let me clean your booty. And she came and she like turned around, and then she like turned around and looked at me like, you done yet?
Yeah, you clean my butt. Do it. Human.
Yeah, she would get along really well with Rico.
Let me debase you by making you clean my buttocks. Dirty human. We also find out that Ikechi's cousin and her husband are also going to be at the party. Everyone shows up. Ike says seeing MM's cousin reminds him of the convo at the wedding. He really hopes it's not awkward. We sit down, we ask how things are going. And M says, I really kind of see safety in him. I feel good to communicate without judgment. It makes her feel like she doesn't need to have her walls up. Ike, for his part, says, I'm gonna just keep calling him Ike. People call him Mike. He says, he asked for someone that was ambitious, someone that would be a real partner, and he feels like he really got that. They've been having great conversations. He sees all positives. So the cousin, Reifu, I think is the name, asked them to give 5 words about each other. That describes them. Ikechi for MM says that she's beautiful, passionate, ambitious, aggressive.
Why would he say that? And this goes back to what Gabby was saying back in Camille and Thomas's section. How does he not recognize as a Black man that is not an appropriate word to use for a Black woman, for Black people? It has such a negative connotation, and he has no problem saying it about his wife.
It be your own people. And let's not forget this is not the first time we've had an aggressive issue on this show. Let's remember Jasmina and Michael, right, from a few seasons ago. That was how Jasmina, that was a word Jasmina used to describe Michael, and that was also, a big issue in that season, where it's just like, I don't like that word. That word does not have a good connotation here. Like it's a very kind of triggering word in the Black community, as you said.
Yeah.
Like when he says that, Chrissy, the friend, stops, she's like, I'm gonna need you to elaborate on that.
I loved Chrissy.
Yeah, he says, I'm used to just I'm kind of he says, you gotta understand, I'm from the South. Okay. Ugh. I'm used to just kind of being laid back, right? Enjoying time together, not constantly being questioned, right? He says, I'm a more laid back person. She is not that. He says, don't get me wrong, I'm not scared. He says, you have to be aggressive to do some of the things that she has done.
And why would he say, I'm not used to being questioned? Like, they're here to question you. They're getting to know you.
I think he was more talking about MM. Like, I think he was talking about the fact that he's talking about why he thinks she's aggressive. That he's saying that
he's not used to being questioned by her in their conversations.
Right.
But,
I think.
Okay. Same thing applies. She's getting to know you. How else do you get to know someone?
And he is terming that as aggressive, which I think is just like 100% the wrong word, right? Because when we think of aggressive, we think, I think some words that come to mind, like confrontation, like, mad, or, I think maybe if he had said she was direct, right? She was, clear. She was,
she's very assertive.
Right. So I think those are all words that could have been would have been a better use here than aggressive, because aggressive is a very negative connotation. So and then MM does not pop off on him right away. Like MM is just like, I'm gonna ignore that, and so she does her 5 words. Yeah, she's I'm not gonna pop off on you in front of everyone. I'm gonna wait till we're alone, and then. Hopefully that's what she would do. MM says her words for him are smart, laid back, calm, creative, and she's trying to think of a 5th word. She's like, what's the opposite of aggressive? And she comes up with nonchalant, which, laid back, calm, and nonchalant are almost like all the same words. So she kind of like comboed all those words together. And so this guy, this boy has the nerve,
the unmitigated
gall to sit there and say, I have an issue with the connotation of nonchalant. Really? Like, you are going to talk about what you have, words that have issues with? And Chrissy's like, well, I have an issue with the word aggressive. Get him, Chrissy, get him. And Keiichi's response to Chrissy's like, well, it's not about you though. They asked me. Chrissy's like, well, actually, we asked her to give some words about you.
Turn it right back around on him.
And so the cousin says, well, actually the words that you guys are using could kind of complement each other. We're trying to get things back on track.
Really back in.
Yeah. He's like, you guys are kind of like the yin
Y'all
and yang.
are complimenting each other.
Yeah.
If you're aggressive, you're nonchalant. That might work together.
Yeah. MM's like, no. Y'all, because the cousin mentions the word aggressive again. She's like, y'all, almost like y'all need to stop using the word aggressive, like almost like clapping when talking about Black women. Do not use the word aggressive when talking about Black women.
Right.
And the RHAPu, the cousin, is not being very helpful. He's almost on Ikechi's side. He's like, there's nothing wrong with an aggressive woman to the right men. That gets Ikechi's dander up.
Yes.
Ikechi's like, well, listen, I mean.
And I love how her cousin would, like, he kept his cool. Like, he was so cool, calm, and collected the whole time. No matter how much, like, how much Ikechi was trying to get under. Yes, Ikechi was trying him to the max, and he never once like matched Ikechi's energy.
Right, because the cousin says there's nothing wrong with an aggressive woman to the right man, and I think when he says to the right man, Ikechi's like, well, listen, I mean, I can lead, right? I'm just not the person that feels like I have to all the time. It's like, okay. The cousin's like, so I mean, you just gotta learn how to handle an aggressive woman. It's like if she's saying you're always chill, maybe she feels like she has to be aggressive to counteract your chill. Ike says, I think you're misinterpreting what I'm saying here. Like this is where Ikechi gets into his kind of like mansplain to another man, I guess. His like, you're not understanding what I'm saying. Let me try and dumb it down for you.
Right.
He's like sometimes she knows more and needs to lead, and I'm fine with that. Like, let's go with that. If you know what more than I do, then that's fine. I think somewhere along the line we got off onto another like track because I'm not sure what he's talking about now to what aggressive is. I think we've kind of lost the plot in that way.
Absolutely.
In confessional, MM says, she says the term aggressive I feel does not suit me in this situation at all. She talks about, I did a lot of self-work before this, and it's surprising to hear him say that about me. So we get the separation. MM is talking to his people, and Ikechi's talking to her people. And MM talks to his friends and says, talks about how much is a commitment. It's not always easy. Good communication makes things easier. She's like, and the aggressive comment, that was very surprising. She says, I'm very structured and used to doing things and planning them out. And it's weird that he's taking it as being aggressive, which I think we all agree with MM in that regard.
What we see in the preview of like the season, when we see that Ikechi going off on Ikechi at that dinner, this is a slow build because she is doing everything in her power to keep it cool.
Yep.
To be like, okay, I may not have liked that, but this is my new husband. So I'm going to take a step back and try to just reframe that like, okay, maybe he just said no, that is just not a good thing to say.
I'm also wondering if one of the other parts of the preview you got is like him talking about how our vows say that you have to like my that you don't have to like my answers or whatever he's talking about. I wonder if he's talking about the aggressive comment, if this going to be a through line through other episodes. For Ikechi's cousin's part, he's really trying to dig this out. He's like, you guys just have different personalities, but you can level each other out. It's good. It's good. Like,
I mean, they're also whispering in the kitchen.
Yeah, sure. Like, you
it's like really... they having nowhere else to go.
Yeah, when Ikechi's talking to the cousin, you can hear them like right behind them. Like this is bleeding through. So this is the best part of the episode. MM's cousin is talking to Ikechi. He's like, they're talking about like, do y'all do things? Like, how are y'all going to get to know each other if you're just like sitting in the house doing nothing? Ikechi's, well, I mean, it's a challenge because we both work long hours. It's hard to do things. And the cousin's like, well, I mean, it kind of sounds like you're a little boring. Ikechi's like, yeah, I am boring. I am. It's like, oh, dude. Because it's like
He basically was saying, okay, I'm challenging you to come back and say something to that. Because so what if I am boring? I'm not married to you.
It's almost like he like stood up, like,
yeah,
and
I am boring.
What? You gonna do something about it?
Right.
But yeah, and the cousin's like, you guys just need like new experiences, you need to go to new places to get that spark going. Casey's like, you think you kind of like look at this like this is normal. Like this, but this what we're doing is not normal. It's like throw normal out the window. Like that's your problem. You look at this as normal.
You the problem.
Yeah, you the issue. Chrissy, the friend says, well, we know it's not normal, but we're asking you, like, what are you going to do to make the most out of this situation, this opportunity? Like, you have to make the time to get to know each other on a deeper level. And the cousin's like, so, I mean, like, what about the future plans? Like, are you going to put her on your life insurance, or is someone going on to someone else's medical insurance? This is where I was like, it's 17 days in. Calm down, some of that.
I do. Yes, I do agree. It's 17 days in. It's too early for an answer on that. But I do get the concern is like, are y'all going to future plan? Like, is this going to be a topic of conversation to get this serious? Or is it because of this is such a different process? Or are you not even considering that until after?
Are you just gonna like fold under the pressure because this isn't normal? Like it's weird. And the cousin's like, and the cousin takes it even further. He's like, you see yourself falling in love with her? Okay, she's like, this started to sound like an interview. Like he just listen. He's like, do I see myself enjoying MM in the future? Yes. Love? Maybe. He's like, this, you gotta understand, this isn't normal. And the girl's like, yeah, but you signed up for this. Like you said you wanted this. Now, I
will say love maybe 17 days in is a little rough.
So it's about how you respond, right? It's like you can say, I see things in her that could lead me to love her. Yes. We're not there yet, but we could definitely get there. Not being like, maybe. And this the way, like, maybe, I don't know. It's the way he said it. He was already like very defensive.
From the moment that he found out that he was coming over.
Yeah, it almost just felt like he was just trying to say anything to be in opposition to the cousin. It's the way he's like, maybe, as if he just didn't care if he fell in love with her. He says, and the cousin's like, well, you have to just like put all your might into this and envision that love to achieve it, because it does sound like she's like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Right.
It just doesn't feel like he's like searching for it. He's looking for it. Keiichi says, listen, I know y'all want the best for MM, and y'all want me to tell you what you want to hear. And Chrissy's like, no. Like, it's not about what we want to hear. Like, we're just hearing a lot of things, but we're not hearing a plan. It's like, ooh, like y'all nailed him on the head. Like, we're hearing a lot of words, but there's no real substance to these words.
It's the way it's been since day one.
My boy, you have concepts of a plan, but you don't have a plan. He says that, it's not. He says, no, I'm not saying that I don't have a plan. I'm not saying none of that, but y'all gonna take it how you want to take it. In a confessional, Chrissy's just like, Chrissy has to gather herself. She has to do the air grab thing and like, Lord, please don't make me go off on this man right now. Please don't make me take my shoe off and hit him with it. Like, give me the power and strength to not bust this man upside his head. Please lure me from these bad thoughts. She says, Chrissy says, I'm seeing a lot of red flags. She said, he doesn't really seem like he's trying to get to know her, and he has a lot of excuses.
Yeah, and it's a dangerous game to play, to have Chrissy leaving this apartment feeling this way.
Because guess what?
That's her friend.
It's gonna spread.
Yes,
like a virus.
Exactly. She's like, do y'all know what y'all know what I saw? Because
the phone calls and the FaceTimes and the text messages are going to be gone in the next 5 minutes after he leaves this apartment.
And there's not enough substance here. There's not enough foundation here for MM to defend this connection.
Mm-hmm. And Keiichi says, listen, he respects MM and he is here for her. He is not here to appease y'all, her friends and family.
her friends and family who mean the world to her.
Right. Who are going to be a big sounding board
can't
for her, who are going to be a
that
big influence on
mindset.
her. It's just it's the exact wrong way to go about this.
Yeah.
This will not work if you are, because in a sense, yes, you do have to work to appease her friends and family because they are a big part of her life. You don't necessarily have to suck up.
Right.
You just have to not blow it, which is what he did.
Yeah, you don't have to spend day and night trying to win them over, but it is very important that like when you marry her, you're marrying her family too.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's different for different people. Yeah, when you have different relationships with your family, but in this situation, she is very close. Clearly, this cousin was at the wedding and important enough to have the first one-on-one with him.
I'm pretty sure he walked her down the aisle. Like,
yeah, like they are close. So yes, it matters what they say.
Yeah. So, and being confrontational is not going to get you anywhere, which is
Right.
what he did. So that was the that was the friends and family housewarming party from hell, basically. We get, for some reason, MM and Akechi show up late to this like flag football outing. They're just like, because when we first start, there's only like what 3.5 couples when we first get to the flag football. MM and Akechi show up out of nowhere. When Akechi's talking to the guys, he says that he and him, he kind of goes off what Juan's saying. He's like, yeah, me and him also have different affection styles. She wants physical touch. She's like, I'm from the South, and she's from Chicago, so we got different styles. He's like, I'm not used to you being in my face all the time. And MM says, for her part, she says she's going at this with full force, but it's going to take some time for him. But it is scary because this is an expedited process. The plan is different. He has to kind of speed his thought process. This is what he says. He says MM and her family are going at this. I misread this. MM and her family are going at this full force, but for him, it's going to take some time. He knows it's expedited. He knows the plan has to be different. He knows he has to speed up his thought process.
It's a plug and play situation.
Yeah. In the girls meet up, MM says, it talks about how he called me aggressive. She's basically telling the girls, like, he said I was aggressive.
Can y'all believe that?
She said, it makes me wonder what he wants from a wife. Every time I question him about it, he thinks that I'm being aggressive by asking him questions. Basically, that's his version of aggressive, which is
the way she said it too. She's like, ask him, what do you want in a wife? That's aggressive. Ask, what do you want out of this marriage? That's aggressive. Madison said, we're all aggressive to get married at first sight.
To do this. Like this, we had to be aggressive to actually do this. This is an aggressive process, literally. Like it's an expedited, speeded up process. It is an aggressive way to get married.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Akechi and MM. Boy, this is bad. This is real bad.
Yeah.
Where were we? Before you took your sabbatical, your break from the podcast?
We were at threes.
And
y'all were at threes last week. That was the only couple I did get jot down.
You're slipping. What do you think?
I'm gonna move to a 2.
Okay.
Because this was not a good episode at all for them. Even their alone time with the tacos, like it just showed he has this chip on his shoulder at the moment that it is not being removed.
No.
So
I feel like he got that chip probably on the honeymoon, as like she's talking about her life, and then as he like sees her apartment, meets her family, that chip is just growing and growing and growing. And I don't think anything's gonna knock it off. I am tempted to throw them in the 1 club.
Oh,
I will put them at a 2. They are on probation. If y'all mess up again, you're going to a 1. And we already know that you're going to be messing up. So you're almost there, y'all. You're almost in the 1 club. I just think I don't think he really likes her, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't.
He likes the idea of marriage. He likes that he has a wife, but MM specifically,
yeah,
that's the question mark.
I'm getting the vibe that he's just not really into this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that there are twos for now, but
Yeah.
y'all are on notice. You're on the way to the one club.
Whew. Well, that was our episode.
You know what the music for the one club is? It's all of the music from the show. Just
Just
in a loop.
matched.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what the one club music is. All
Yeah.
the deeply literal lyrics of like what's going
Yes.
on in the episode. Like that's what's playing in the one club.
Right. Yes. So thank y'all so much for sticking with us. We will be back next week to talk about episode 9. Make sure you go subscribe to Love at First Sight feed, as well as join the Facebook group, where this week the password is "That Ain't For You."
Ain't about you.
That ain't about
like
you. Yeah. Jason, where can people keep up with you?
You can find me still on Twitter at JAYR1085. You can find me also on Blue Sky at JR33D. As far as podcast goes, I'm doing the Good Pod with Marissa Garza. We're talking about The Good Wife and the Good Wife related shows like Elsbeth as that comes out. So we're doing double duty with both The Good Wife Rewatch and Elsbeth as that comes out right now. That's it for me. Aysha, what about you?
Yeah, y'all can find me on all social media at Aysha like Asia. So Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, Cameo. If you're looking for a Christmas gift, definitely go submit a Cameo. Those have been pretty fun to do. So yeah, that's where you can find me. And yeah, we'll see you next week. And trying to think, was there anything else? No, I think that's it. I was trying.
Are you okay?
I was trying to think if I was actually trying to quote Ikechi to like exit, but it just wasn't flowing. It wasn't flowing.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Like something from the thing, like him meeting her family. All the things that he said that he shouldn't have said.
Are you gonna edit this out?
No. All right. Thank y'all so much for sticking with us. We'll see y'all next week. Bye.